All right, let's get the party started on Fanduel today. Let's start building our player pool. I was just playing with lineups, getting some stuff put together, and trying to figure out some combinations of quarterbacks and where I want to go with that. Starting out, player pool wise, at the quarterback position, I have two core plays that I'm going to mix and match in, but a fairly tight pool. Number one, on the core play side, he's too cheap. Lenore Sellers at 9,700. He didn't have to do anything last week against South Carolina State. Why would they put him in any sort of danger? I think he's got tons of rushing capability. We kind of saw it's interesting because we have good morning, JB. We have South Carolina and Vanderbilt and Virginia Tech. They've all played each other essentially. So we kind of seen what South Carolina did to Virginia Tech, what Vanderbilt did to Virginia Tech. And Kyron Drones is a crappy version of Lenore Sellers and Diego Pavia, very similar players. So we could kind of draw some conclusions from that game as to how it's going to go. I watched a ton of both of those games against Virginia Tech, so I got a decent idea of how they're going to play. I think Sellers has a big game this week at 9,700. He's definitely my top option at quarterback this week for this slate. Number two, I'm going out on a limb, but I just trust him. I've liked him since he was at Boise. Core play, Taylon Green, love his upside. While he's healthy, I'm going to buy into him. They got the absolute doors blown off them by Jackson Dart and Trey Harris combo last year. I'm going to buy in to Taylon Green. He's got massive rushing upside. I still can't get over the fact that Zach Calzada and Kentucky looked better on offense against Ole Miss than they did against Toledo. So I'm going to buy into Taylon Green. I'm going to put him as a core play for me this week. They're also coincidentally my top 2 points per dollar options. That's probably why they're my core plays. Sellers, clear number one. I'm going Green as 2, but that's me kind of planting a flag there. GPP play this week. So top GPP option for me is going to be Haynes King. I think you take a shot here and there. Why not? I love the rushing upside. He's got weapons on the outside. If they're going to stay in this game, see, he already updated, so he's available. If they're going to stay in this game, it's going to be on the back of Haynes King. He's going to be the reason why. They're going to run the heck out of the football. He's going to be able to throw. I don't mind that it's a lower body issue because at least now he can throw the ball. He's still going to run because he's a gutty performer. If anybody's going to play hero ball on this slate and will a team along, it's Haynes King. So I have no issues taking shots on him at 9,100. I think he comes in low owned given the questionable injury issue, plus the stature that everybody's going to believe in that Clemson defense, which I do anyway. Rest of the player pool, guys that are going to get mixed in, some more heavily than others. Jaden Maeva at 12K. Yes, he's the most pricey guy on the board, but he's also the most raw points projected guy on the board. I'm going to be mixing him in. My concern and the reason why he's not going to end up being a core play on either site for me, I know he has rushing capability. He hadn't had to do it. He's been highly efficient passing the football. I love his weapons. He's facing his former head coach from UNLV and Barry Odom. They're going to try to muck the game up, try to keep it lower scoring if they can. I'm still concerned with how USC performed on the road last year, specifically that Maryland game where they just absolutely struggled. Can the USC offense translate to a different time zone? Lincoln Riley has adjusted the way that he's going to do this. He he didn't really care about the travel. He just kind of said last year that it was, oh, it's just another movie on the airplane. It does make a difference when you're traveling an extra 3 hours. So they're doing a lot more scientifically to make that work. I want to see it. I will take shots because I love Maeva, the player, but I can't, in good faith, make him a core play because of it, because there's also a lot of good options as well. Eli Holstein, definitely in play for me. He's been downright dominant. I'm going to mix and match a lot of him in as well. He can run a good bit. He doesn't get enough credit for how good of a runner he is, but look how efficient he is with these touchdowns. He started last year in a similar vein. I think we buy into it until something goes awry, specifically against the West Virginia team that I do not trust under Rich Rod to do a whole ton. They're going to try to run the football. They don't have a great offense. So I'm going to buy into some Holstein. I think you get slightly lower ownership because of how pricey he is. Price is irrelevant on FanDuel as usual. So take some shots there. I probably will have a team with Holstein, Sellers, Holstein, Green. It seems like that's going to end up being my preferred build set, is take Sellers and Green as probably a quarter of my teams, having one of the two or having both of them, and then mix and match Sellers with Holstein, Sellers with Klubnik, Sellers with Bayron Morton. Speaking of Cade Klubnik, he's 100% got to be in the pool. He's been terrible. I agree. He's been terrible. I'm still going to buy into him. I think that they need to make a play. They're going to need to get willed here. Klubnik's going to, we saw it. I still can't get over that Pitt game from last year where he just kind of willed them to victory and kept them in that thing. I'm going to keep buying in until I'm proven completely wrong and get burned horribly. So I'll buy Klubnik here at 10-2. I think the price tag's nice. He's got rushing upside. So I'm going to buy in. I'm going to leave him in the pool, and he will end up going in teams specifically with Sellers. I'll probably have a little bit less Green than Sellers. Sellers is probably going to get mixed and matched with a lot of these guys. I think sometimes you have to take a stand and flag plant, and I think I'm going to flag plant Sellers as far as being like a 60 to 70% owned in my lineups this week. I don't know whether I'm going here or not, but I'm leaving him in the pool currently. Julian saying, I don't think the rushing upside's there. I think the pass upside's there. Do I really want to pair him with Jeremiah and spend 10-8? I don't know. Some guys that I trust have him as core plays on FanDuel. I just don't know that I want to go here. I think Ohio is good enough that they're able to kind of keep this game in question long enough that Ohio State's going to have to keep playing with them. I just don't know that I want to play Julian saying. I don't know that the upside's there. So even if this game turns into a blowout, does he throw for 4 or 5 touchdowns? Maybe. But I just don't know that the juice is worth the squeeze here. So he's probably the last guy in my pool that I'm playing, but he's made the pool. That's kind of where I'm at with Julian saying. Bayron Morton, 10-3. I love Bayron Morton. Been a fan of his for a long time. Oregon State has given up 3 touchdowns to a true freshman at Cal, a Cal team that I think's awful, in his first ever start, and got kind of beat up by E.J. Warner last week in Fresno State. Bayron, the fact that he played last week, I love. He's been highly efficient. He's got receivers for days. I think 90% of the ownership of this team goes to his running backs. We're going to get to them. So I think Bayron's a great play. I think you can play Bayron with one of his running backs and one of his wide receivers. I think you can play Bayron with 2 of his wide receivers. I don't think anything's out of the question right now. 258 and 3s in play. 22 points I wouldn't be too happy about. I'm probably not taking a GPP down with that, but I think that he has 4 to 5 touchdown upside without a doubt. So he's going to be mixed and matched. He's probably my third favorite quarterback option on this slate, price considered, to pair with Sellers and Green. I will be doing that, no doubt about it. Final guy in the pool. He was a final guy in the pool on DK. He's the best cheap option on the week for me. I'm buying into it. Give me Gunnar Stockton. I think he has upside rushing the football that we're not necessarily accounting for in his projections. At 8,800, I like it. I saw one guy touting DJ Lagway. He keeps talking about his rushing upside. Hadn't seen it. I've seen it from Gunnar, though. So give me Gunnar Stockton at 8.8. I like his points per dollar upside. I think he has the capability to throw the football. And full transparency, I had Nate Frazier in my pool up until about 30 minutes ago. I deleted him from my pool. And the reason is I'm too concerned that he fumbles the football in this game. I think Tennessee's defense is good enough. I think they do lean into the run. I really do. And I'm probably going to end up taking shots on Nate Frazier. I'll probably flip-flop 100 times whether I want him in the pool or not. I don't think I need him in the pool. I'm going really heavy on a certain set of players. We're going to talk about them in a second. Nate Frazier fumbled last week against Austin Peay. He's consistently had problems holding on to the freaking football. It's like the guy in the program, man. Just walk around with that football. You know, tape that thing to his arm like in Friday Night Lights and have him walk around the class. If he fumbles, get another player to bring it back home to the coach. And then he has to run wind sprints. Like, at some point, the kid's got to learn to hold on to the football. I don't think they can trust him to do it. I think they end up leaning more into Gunnar Stockton. They are throwing. His ADOT is like 4 yards per attempt right now. I think that goes up this week. They're not going to be able to play this East-West offense game. I think Stockton takes shots and is able to run the football as a part of that offense. So I want a piece of him here and there. I'm not going to go overboard, but I am going to take shots. No doubt about it. I think they end up having a good game here. Ultimately, sorry. Tongue-tied. Running back wise, core plays this week. People are going to say he's a better play on DK than he is on Fanduel. Don't care. I'm taking Desmond Reed. Yes, the carries haven't been there. Yes, the total touches haven't been there. I think this is Desmond Reed breakout week. We start seeing what he did last year. 20 to 30 point upside here, no doubt about it. He's got 3-4 touchdown upside. He could clear 20 with just touchdowns. And then that's not factoring in the yardage. We've seen him before do 100 rushing, 100 receiving. I think that's fully in play this week against this West Virginia team. I have no issues. I'm going to have a ton of Desmond Reed. He's the top guy for me at the running back position. I don't mind paying 10-5. I can get there all day. Next core play. 6,100. He's my top Texas Tech option. I'm going to lean into that Jacoby Williams is the best back in this backfield. He's the most efficient, most explosive. I think he gets the most touches. I'll take him at 6,100, but I'm also going to highlight Cameron Dickey. I'm going to give myself a two-way out here, boys. I think Dickey's more of the goal line back. So can Dickey fall in the end zone twice and have a terrible stat line like this, but still net me 15 points? Yep, sure can. So I'm going to target, I'm going both as core plays. I think you should mix and match the two. I don't think there's any reason why you shouldn't. They're both going to see plenty of touches, and quite frankly, I don't really want to be wrong and take a stand on either one of them. So I'm playing both. I'm going to recommend both. I wouldn't play both together, but I'd play one of them with a top option, a top end guy, specifically Desmond Reed. So I think you need to have one of those two Texas Tech guys in there. For most lineups, I think you do differentiate and get some exposure to where you just have Bayron, but one of the two should likely be in there in most builds. Top GPP option. I'm going to buy into it again. Give me all the Jeremiah Love here. 9,800. Robert Henry ran for 170 on this Texas A&M defense. I think we see Jeremiah Love. He gets way more than this. He had 6 of these carries after midway through the third quarter in this game. I think he's early, often, full on involved. I think he goes for 100 and at least one touchdown. If he can outscore Desmond Reed and another guy we're going to talk about in a second, or another guy, he's my top GPP play, though. I think people are going to end up buying too much into the fact that Miami was able to stifle him. They're going to buy into the fact that his workload wasn't very good. I'm going to buy that Jeremiah Love is a featured piece of this offense this week against Texas A&M. So he's my top GPP play as far as having upside there. Player pool wise, Keywan Lacey's going to be in the pool. He's getting too much work not to be. 28 carries, almost 30 touches, 140 yards, and a touchdown. I love him as a bring back for your Arkansas stacks. I think this offense goes through Keywan Lacey and not through the pass game this year. So I'm going to buy Keywan Lacey. I'm going to mix and match him with Desmond Reed, with Jeremiah Love. I think you can definitely get Reed and Love. I think you get Lacey and Love in there. No problem whatsoever. Wayman Jordan needs to be in the pool. I think he's a good differentiator play from a Maeva stack. I think his workload is probably slightly less, but this kid is a stud. So that's why I'm going to lean it that he is probably my 4th favorite option at the top. I would rank them Reed, Love, Lacey, Wayman Jordan at the top of the board. Also in the pool, Mark Fletcher. I think he's the 1A in this backfield. The 1B is a 1B and C. So I think Fletcher's the clear top option in this backfield. He's the number 1 guy. Do I love the play? Not really. Will I get there? Maybe. But I'm not making any promises that I will play Mark Fletcher. He does project well. He's probably one of the better points per dollar plays, especially at the top end. But I don't know that I get there. I'm not the biggest fan of that Miami offense. Noah Whittington's going to remain in the pool. I just am scared of this. He destroyed a team that had a legitimate shot to win this tournament last week because he only had 91 yards and a touchdown on 4 carries. If he had had 15 carries, I probably win or get at least in the top 50, top 20 probably of that tournament. But this is what scares me. I don't think the volume's going to be there. That's going to lead me to want to go to your Keywan Lacey and your Jeremiah Loves a little bit more. Great play, though. He's probably going to score. It's just a question of how much work does he get. They're still using too many people. The aforementioned Nate Frazier. Let's go to Adam Randall. I think in these types of situations, these games, they're having to lean on him more. If you look at last week, 21 carries, 4 catches, they're going to lean on him. I think he's in play. I prefer him to Nate Frazier for that. I'll get here some. I'm definitely going to end up getting here some. Jaden Baugh. I think he's one of the most talented backs in the country. I'm going to get here. How much I get here, I don't know. But from a value standpoint, if I'm at 80, am I going to take him over Adam Randall is the $1,000,000 question. I think that comes down to what quarterback I'm playing, what kind of exposure to Clemson I'm having in that sense. Oh no, JB, I removed them too. I removed the Ohio State running backs, Peoples and the refrigerator that is CJ Donaldson got removed from the pool. I just don't trust what the work share is there. I think that Sayan's going to get enough. It's too much risk for me to go there. I debated them. I debated the Ohio State backs. I think Peoples is worth shots at 61. I don't love Donaldson at 88. I've lived the CJ Donaldson experience too many times. Just absolutely lived it in West Virginia, and I rode that horse till it died multiple times. I'm just not willing to ride it here. I think there's significant risk that Bo Jackson ends up being the best of the group eventually within the next 6 weeks. And that's what scares me. I think that Sayan's going to get his. So you're talking 2, maybe 3 touchdowns for Sayan. And then you're talking maybe Donaldson falls in the end zone once. But is the yardage going to be there? I do like this Ohio team from that standpoint. I think it's a good team. And then Peoples is just a shot in the dark. So if you give me Jacoby Williams at 6,100 for Texas Tech, I'm going to take him 10 times out of 10 over Peoples. Maybe that's the thing that ruins me, but I'm taking that all day, every day. Like, I'm almost more tempted to take shots on Bo Jackson, but I just don't need that 5K guy to take those shots. Like, it's one of those things. I'm limiting my risk factor, and the upside isn't there for that backfield for me to take shots on. Could end up burning me. Maybe CJ Donaldson gets 4 touchdowns and I get burned, but I'll take that chance. I think the ownership on that Ohio State backfield is going to be low. But Jaden Ball, like I said, one of the more talented backs in the country. If they're going to score a ton of points on LSU, I think it's through Jaden Ball. He would be a guy that I'm willing to take shots on. Oscar Attaway is my top guy in the backfield for South Carolina. I thought he looked very good against Virginia Tech. He looked pretty explosive. I thought this was going to be Rasul Faison. I'm probably going to end up avoiding him, but I don't mind taking shots when I end up in that situation and that 7,400 range. Sure, take your shot. Mike Washington, top guy for me for Arkansas. Good player. I will take shots there. I prefer Washington to Attaway, but I would obviously prefer just to go down to Jacoby Williams. That's where I'm in the punt pay up, because if I'm going to punt and I don't want to punt with Jacoby Williams, I'm punting with Kevin Riley. This kid's growing on me. You would think in this ULM game, he got all this work when they were up 50-0. No, he got the first carry of the game. So he's been the most explosive player through the first 2 weeks out of this backfield. They've turned to him. The staff likes him. 11 carries, 69 yards, 6 catches on 6 targets for 45 yards. He converted every target. I will be playing plenty of Kevin Riley. If I am going away from that value option backfield that is Texas Tech, I'm going to Kevin Riley, and that's my mix and match. That's allowing me to go, all right, I'm going to play either one of the Texas Tech backs or Kevin Riley, and then I'm spending up for my Reed, Keywan Lacey, Jeremiah Love, Wayman Jordan combos, I can get there and just spend all my money up at the top at the position. Because I'd prefer, I want guaranteed touches, and that top 4 right here of the pool is getting guaranteed touches. Top 3 specifically. Number 3 is questionable, but I'm willing to take the chance there because I think he's going to have to be involved. Core plays at wide receiver. There's one homer play. So I'm going to call something out because I removed him from my pool. I'm going to call this out right out the gate. Trent Walker's going to get hype. 100%. I know why he's getting hype. On DK, I'm going to play the hell out of him because he deserves to. Because look at this. He does this. He did it all last year with terrible quarterback play from Ben Gulbranson, and he's already started the year doing it this year. He's going to catch the hell out of the football. He's going to get close to 100 yards in this game. He's not scoring touchdowns. That means on Fanduel, bad play. You need touchdowns. I've lived this life before where I play all these safe floor, gonna catch the hell out of the ball guys. Okay, cool. Let's say he gets me 18 points. Now I got 2x. I need touchdowns. The guys who are going to win you this slate are going to score touchdowns. Trent Walker, not touchdown scorer. Confirmed. Seen it too many times. Not playing him. I would rather play. Now I'm going to get there. Bryant Wesco. First core play for me. This is why. He could score touchdowns. He's the best wide receiver in that room. Controversially, I said it before the season started. You can go back and look. There's a video that says top 3 wide receivers in the ACC. Up in there, Bryant Wesco. Love this kid. Now, granted, I did say Eric Rivers, but I think he's the number 2 probably on that team. I do like Eric Rivers, though. Maybe that plays out. But Bryant Wesco is the top wide receiver in this room. Some people like TJ Moore. Some people like Antonio Williams. I'm a Wesco guy. I think he compares very favorably to the Mike Williams, DeAndre Hopkins guys that used to be those big physical outside threat wide receivers at Clemson. He's the next one. So give me him as my first core play. If I'm spinning in that mid-range, I'm going for Wesco. Now, oh, crap. What are we doing? No ad funds. Don't need to. Never needed to. All right. Other 2 core plays at wide receiver. I'm pairing guys up. No doubt about it. Omega Blake, top option for Arkansas. He scored both the first 2 games, 4 or 5 catches in each. He's got upside to be a game breaker. I think they end up having to throw the ball. I'm going to pair him with Taylor Green. No problems. Love the price at 6,300 for the wide receiver 1 in that offense. My wide receiver 1 for Texas Tech is going to be the 3rd core option. Reggie Virgil at 5,600. He's a touchdown guy. He's a very good player. He didn't get enough hype coming out of Miami of Ohio. Fabulous player, though. I'm going to buy him as the number 1 wideout. He's a core play for me. So if I'm building a lineup, I want Virgil. I want Blake. I want Wesco. That also is going to allow me. Virgil's price is a joke. Yeah. Now, this is where it gets interesting, though, JB. I think everybody's going to Virgil. So I'm going to have plenty of zig when I'm going to zag when they zig. I think the way to get different and the way to win this slate, he's my Josh Cameron for this week, GPP play of the week, Caleb Douglas. He's run more routes than any other wide receiver. Targets just quite haven't been there. Bayron has a good connection with him. We saw it last year. I will take plenty of shots, and I'm going to get there a ton, is Caleb Douglas and play Virgil with him, or play no Virgil, go Caleb Douglas. I think Douglas comes in at half the ownership that Virgil does at $600 more, and everybody's concerned because Douglas hasn't done anything yet, I think that's your buying opportunity to get leverage on the field by playing Caleb Douglas instead of Reggie Virgil. Second GPP play. And this is because of the way this site is with the touchdowns. We mentioned it. I think a lot of people go to Trent Walker. I think a lot of people go to Mekhi Lemon. Now, Lemon's in my pool. We're going to get there. I like Jacoby Lane as a GPP option because, yes, the catches are limited by comparison. I don't think you need to stack him. I think there's a real possibility we see a 5 for 80 and 3 touchdown game at a Lane. I'm going to buy that. He does not project particularly well. He's the lowest points per dollar play in my Fanduel based on, in my player pool based on projection. I don't care. I'm ignoring it because he's flat out a touchdown scorer. Yes, he's priced up a little higher than I would like. I'd love him to be in the 8,200 range. I'll still pay for it because I know he has 3 touchdown upside. So he's a GPP play, and you're taking shots, and it's very few and far between, I would say. I wouldn't make him a ton of lineups, but I like taking the chance on him. And I may end up taking these are my GPP shot play tournament lineup, which is Lane and Douglas. That would be fun because they're going to come in super low owned, but they have upside to be you could get 5 touchdowns between Douglas and Lane on this slate. I love Lane. I think I was a big Mekhi Lemon guy, and I am a big Mekhi Lemon guy, but don't forget Jacoby Lane. He's very good as well. This one's like my puke play of the week. We're going to probably have to name it that. I think Zachariah Branch breaks one off. I just do. He's explosive. I love the idea of stacking him with Gunnar Stockton. Arian Smith used to get loose last year a ton. Problem was, Arian Smith drops the heck out of the football and has cinder blocks for hands. So Zachariah Branch is basically a upgraded version of Arian Smith. I think Arian Smith catches a long touchdown this week. I think there's the possibility he returns a kick for a touchdown this week. Give me Arian Smith as a low-owned GPP upside play because there's a lot of other guys in that 6,500 range that are good plays. Now, Arian Smith or Zachariah Branch here could easily burn you for 3 points. Not saying he can't, but Zachariah Branch is a very good leverage play this week in a game that I think people think is going to go under the total. I already bet the under in the Tennessee total. I like Zachariah Branch this week, though. Player pool. Is it a player pool if I don't put Jeremiah Smith in the player pool? I mean, I'd be a fool not to. So Jeremiah Smith, yes, he's in the player pool. Yes, he could go 5 for 120 and 2. If you have the salary, pay the $11K. He's the best wide receiver on the slate. It's not close. So sure, if you want, pay it. Exactly. That's what JB, that's the thing, buddy. I have learned enough at this point where I try to figure out, okay, my mind and your mind, we all think Reggie Virgil's a great play. At some point, you got to say, all right, I'm taking leverage on the field, and I'm going to take Caleb Douglas, and I'm going to buy low. Or I'm going to take Jacoby Lane, and I'm going to buy low. I'm going to take Zach Branch. I think nobody's going to play, and I'm going to buy low. Are they going to work out? Maybe not, but they're the kinds of guys, and they're the types of plays that you want to get kind of sprinkled here and there. Because if they hit, they win you a tournament. Now, I don't think you need to get completely different. That's not to say you need to play off the wall crazy crap all throughout a team. You realistically only need leverage on one guy. So if you can build a lineup that would fit Reggie Virgil, and you think, hey man, this is a chalk lineup except for Reggie Virgil or with Reggie Virgil, but it's straight chalk, and you can pivot to Caleb Douglas, That's your differentiator. Like, yes, why do I want to tie with everybody? So I'm going to have one guy or two guys in every lineup that are differentiators. They are my, if you say, hey, I've got Reggie Virgil and a Texas Tech running back, cool. I'm going to play it, and everything else is chalk. I'm going to play Kevin Riley for Alabama, and I'm going to play Caleb Douglas for Texas Tech to take two chalk plays and make them differentiators. Now I'm playing a 2v2. So I've got Kevin Riley and Caleb Douglas against Reggie Virgil and Jacoby Williams. There you go. Like, do I want to win a GPP or do I want to tie for first in that GPP? That's the difference. And I've really been working on this. I've been trying because NFL Showdown is my worst game mode. And that's my problem, though, is I follow the herd too much. So, Jeremiah Smith, great play. Put him in your pool. No doubt about it. Mekhi Lemon, put him in your pool. Great play. 10K, you got salary, and you can't get to Jeremiah. No problem. Play Mekhi Lemon. They're number 1 and number 2 on the board. No doubt about it. I don't trust my projection for the next guy that's number 2, I'll go to him now. Malachi Toney. He projects really well. Do I want to buy that projection? Not really. I don't trust him. I'm going to play some of him. At 7,800, he looks good on paper. He's caught the heck out of the football. I will play Malachi Toney. Do I love that I'm playing Malachi Toney? No. But I'll play him. He's got to be in my pool. He projects too well for me not to. Too good of a projection. Jeremy Bernard. Alabama number 1 wide receiver. My opinion. He's very safe play. I will get there. I'm going to get there. I just like playing him. If he's an option and I have price and salary in that range, I don't mind getting there whatsoever. I like Bernard. I think he's a good play at 92. I will have shares. I don't know what I'm doing here. I can't forget that Trey Harris game. I think Harrison Wallace is the ultimate bring back play for that Arkansas stack. He's at 100 yards in each game. He's clearly the big play threat. No chance in the world I'm getting to Caden Lee or I just can't. They're not targeting Caden Lee. They're not targeting DeJon Stribling. I don't want to play the tight ends. So Harrison Wallace by default is in play. He's in the pool. Do I want to get there? I might get there in 1 or 2. I think it's going to be a game stack for me at that point, and it'll end up being you play Harrison Wallace with the Blake and Taylor Green stack, hoping that it shoots out. I prefer the game script of Kewan Lacey probably a little bit more, but I think I'll have a share or 2 of Harrison Wallace. Aaron Anderson's the only option in the LSU pass attack that I'm willing to go to. He gets targeted more than anybody else. He's a cheap version of Trent Walker, although I think he has more touchdown equity. So 8,100, if you're living in that range, no issues getting to Aaron Anderson. I do prefer Wesco at 84. I do prefer Nick Harbor at 79. That's the next guy I want to talk about. If I'm going to pair Sellers, I'm pairing it with him. I know he didn't catch a pass last week. Don't care. He should have had 2 touchdowns against Virginia Tech. Both Greens, specifically Aiden Green for Virginia Tech, 8. Absolutely was wide open multiple times against South Carolina. He was open against Vanderbilt. So I'm going to buy into that. I think Nick Harbor at 6'5" and track speed ends up being a very good play here. If I'm pairing Sellers up and not playing him naked, I'm playing him with Nick Harbor. Nick Harbor is going to be featured in quite a few of those Sellers teams, although I think playing him naked, nothing wrong with that. That middle range, I will say I rank it Harbor 1, Tony. Ooh, Tony versus Anderson is tough. I would say it's Wesco. So from 78 to 84, it's Wesco, Harbor, but I'm only playing Harbor if I play Sellers. Harbor is only allowed to be played if he's played with Sellers. There is no world where Harbor is optimal without Sellers being optimal as well. That's what I'll tell you. So if you're playing Harbor, you have to be playing Sellers. Otherwise, don't play Harbor. You need to pivot to a Tony or Anderson who has much more catch upside. That's a fair point. That makes a ton of sense. I'm going to talk about him every week. I can't help it. I already bet Duke to win this game outright. Cooper Barkate's their top option. I don't mind getting here. I think there's better plays below him with Omega Blake. I think there's better plays in the 5K range. But I think Barkate is a very good player. So I'll buy the talent and I'll throw him in the pool. If I end up there, I might get a share or two, but it's not going to be a lot. Coy Eakin. I think people are going to get here. I won't probably get here because I think people are going to go here and ignore Caleb Douglas. If I end up in this range, yes, I will get a share just to cover my bases. But I prefer Virgil for $1,200 cheaper, and I prefer Douglas for $600 cheaper, which probably means I'm going to end up missing out on an Eakin game of a lifetime, but we'll see. I'm probably going to end up with one share just to cover myself. It's a cop-out, but maybe. But I would much prefer Virgil. I rank it Virgil, Douglas, Eakin. If we go ownership-based, I would say Douglas, Virgil, Eakin. All right. This guy burned me last week a little bit, although he's caught a touchdown from the backup quarterback. Eli Stowers. So if you want to play a bring back, I don't think you need to. It would be Stowers. Stowers wasn't on the field enough for me last week. I debated removing him from the pool. He's very fringe in this pool. So I don't know that I get there. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. I wouldn't advise it necessarily. I probably am going to end up removing him from the pool, though. I don't think you need to get to him. All right. There's 2 5K guys in my pool. Number 1's Malik Rutherford. He would be priced a lot more if in this Colorado game he did not get hurt in the first quarter. So he had 5 for 62 last week in a blowout win. I don't have issues taking shots because he's 5K. He's not a touchdown merchant. He's more of a PPR guy. But I would rather pay for him at this price tag than if he was in the 6K or 7K range. So I have no issues paying 5K. If you need a punt play, your other punt play is TJ Moore. Klubnik's kind of talked about it. He's a quality player. I mean, he had 11 targets against LSU. That could easily go back his way. So as much as Wesco is my favorite option in that pass game, I am going to take shots going the other way and say that TJ Moore ends up getting the bulk of the work. Yes, he had a terrible game last week. Yes, 8 points isn't really going to cut it, but 8 points at 5K is not going to kill me. And if he falls in the end zone now, we're talking 14, and I'm pretty happy with that. So TJ Moore, definitely in your pool with Malik Rutherford. I probably prefer Moore to Rutherford, but I would play each without issue, and I will have shares of each. In fact, I'm removing Eli Stowers right now, and I'm going to play, so that'll work. All right, last 2 guys in the pool this week. Similarly to where I like Zachariah Branch, I want a big body guy. Give me Colby Young at 5,400. He's in the pool. He caught had 7 targets, caught all 7 last week. I think his role is going to expand. I think he ends up being more of a red zone threat for them. So I don't mind taking shots on Colby Young. I will have some Zach Branch. I will have some Colby Young. I'm going to mix and match those guys in. We'll see where we end up. I think this is a good proving ground, though, for this Georgia offense this week. Final guy in the pool, and he's kind of fringy on me right now. I was tempted to put Vernell Brown in the pool. I like him, but alas, I think that game's a clear under. Kenny Johnson's going to be in the pool. So they spread the heck out of the targets. The fact of the matter is Raphael Williams is 7,700 and Kenny Johnson's 5,700, and there should not be that spread. Kenny Johnson's a decent player. I think they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit here. So if you want to play the Pitt triple stack of Holstein, Johnson, and Reed, sounds like a law firm, I don't mind it. Do I want to get here? Probably not. I don't necessarily love getting to the Pitt wideouts because they spread the ball around so much. I would prefer to just play Reed with Holstein, and Holstein and Reed is really the wide receiver 1 paired with him. So he's in the pool, though. So anyway, long-winded, but that's kind of what we have. I will tell you that, like I said, 25% of my teams are going to be green sellers. I do recommend starting with your kind of your base and saying, hey, I'm going to play X and Y quarterbacks, and then try to narrow down a lot and build around that. So that is the FanDuel lineup builder. Hopefully that narrowed your pool down. I remember I used to listen to these type of shows, and I used to write down notes and make my pool, and then I would kind of piece together my teams. Now I got fancy spreadsheets and stuff. So tomorrow I will be live. I'm going to try to do probably 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then I'll provide updates if injuries. Speaking of something, if you're around late, you get a fun bonus action item here. Yassine Willis for Syracuse is out if you're playing the Friday slate. Lock in Will Nixon. You're going to need to play him. So if you see this, make sure you played Will Nixon against Colgate for Syracuse. Otherwise, I just built my lineup a minute ago. So that's what I was working on. Yep. JB, we're gonna talk about some more stuff tomorrow. I'll answer lineup questions tomorrow. I'll be live 9 a.m. Central. I need to leave myself a little bit of extra time, and I'm gonna break down the late slate for DK. I'm only playing the FanDuel main just because I need to minimize the amount of teams I'm looking at. So I'll be building. Hopefully, I take down the big boy DK one, but I'll take winning the FanDuel one. I'd be happy with that. So I'll be back tomorrow morning and be live. I'm going to set that stream up so that you guys see it. And that'll be kind of answer questions and lineup decision. While I'm going to be building at the same time. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.